The complete guide solo hardcore. In this video, I wanted to go over how to beat solo hardcore, what to do, what to use, and why. So starting off, obviously we're gonna use a early game tower. So we're gonna go with the brawler, simply because it gets stun. It's good for early game. It's incredibly cheap, and you can get hidden detection out of it extremely easy. Next is our main DPS tower, which is going to be the engineer. Extremely fast fire rate at max level, does insane DPS, has stun immunity or stun resistance, and obviously it's the engineer. Of course, it's going to do a lot of the DPS. Next is our secondary DPS tower, which is the accelerator. Pretty good. There is other options, but I think this is the best one to use. And then we have a support, which is the mercenary base. This can do so much damage if you stack up the Grenader units, and also it can give the towers that you're using a 20% damage buff, which mostly affects accelerator and the brawler. Lastly, another support, which surprisingly is a freezing tower. So freezer, or pyromancer, or frost blaster, or jester all work, but for the sake of easiness, we're gonna go with freezer because it's not an event tower and lots of people probably have it. So let's just get right into it. And then we're gonna go on to the Crossroads map. This map is extremely good for brawler, and also it's good because really you're not gonna have a lot of money in the end to move your towers around. So we're gonna go with Crossroads now. Common question that I think I'm asked is, why no farm? Well, I will show you. Crossroads is incredibly viable for solo hardcore because of this massive loop here. So pretty much if I get an accelerator right here, everything's gonna loop around, and the accelerator is pretty much always going to be attacking. This is probably the best map of the game to get good placement on, because look at this. This is gonna be attacking for all of this duration here. Make sure auto skip is off, by the way. And we're going to place our first brawler on this corner. And I also recommend to have tower placement when it's on. So now this brawler is going to be carrying us for the first few waves. We're going to get this brawler to... there's a lot of ways you can do this. Personally, I like to get the engineer next, but you can also just upgrade your brawler straight to level 2. But I'm actually going to skip to speed up some of these waves. And let's see, we're going to do a time lapse, so I'll be able to get the engineer, and then we'll keep going after that. After a short duration, we can finally get our first engineer. The engineers are going to go in this corner right here. All 6 are just going to be right here. Next step we're going to do is get the engineer to level 1. So now it has more range, and it can one-shot enemies with its rebar launcher. You can pretty much just keep skipping from this point on. You have to stop skipping at one point, but for early game, you can just keep skipping to make it as fast as possible. Next, we're going to want to get the engineer to level 2, by the way, because it'll get double sentries and hidden detection, which will be good for the next waves coming up. Next on wave 7, we have Hefties. These shouldn't really be a problem as long as you have the upgraded engineer. And you could actually skip to get another engineer if you want to deal with it faster. Pretty much for the entirety of early game and up to like the Grave Digger. We're just gonna keep getting engineers because this is the best tower to do damage with. It's the cheapest, and overall is jack of all trades. So it can deal with pins, it can deal with leads, it can deal with everything. Brawler as well is extremely good for leads, and you really should never have a problem with leads. The only real hard wave could be The waves with lots of enemies, you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit, but when it comes down to like wave 25 and wave 32, there's a lot of stuff on screen, and Brawler's only a single target tower, so it could struggle a little bit. But if you know what you're doing with the targeting, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. You just have to be good at microing it. Here we have our first wave of hiddens, or invisibles. Engineer, you have 2 level 2s, hopefully by now, and that should be able to deal with all of them. Shouldn't leak anything. But now we're going to get the Brawler to level 1, and we're going to get level 2 Brawler spam after this point. Because now, these engineers should be able to defend any balloons and any other stuff from any other waves. Most of the time with solo hardcore, it's either waiting or just upgrading one tower at a time. With solo hardcore, you should... What is going on with these balloons, bro? You should never really be spamming like level 0 towers, or you should never really be spamming multiple things at the same time, because hardcore tends to punish you if you do that. You have to be very strategic with your gameplay and very aware of what you're doing. You have to think ahead a lot of the time. See, like on wave 13, I have to be thinking ahead to breakers, so I'm going to be getting more brawlers. For spamming brawlers, there's a couple of ways you can do it. I personally prefer level 2 spam because it stuns and it can do a lot of damage. You could also do level 0 spam because that's the most cost efficient method. Because believe it or not, Brawler is actually like one of the best towers in the game at level 0. 50 cost efficiency, which means $50 per DPS you're paying for, which is extremely good by the way. I can actually skip this wave. I'm going to do that for the sake of not wasting time with you guys. So let's just skip right into the lead boss here. These balloons look normal. I have no idea what was going on with those other guys. That was interesting. But as you can see, Engineer pretty much can chomp down on any balloons, let them make their way through. And by now, you should have 2 level 2 brawlers, which should make light work of this lead boss. For the placement here, you have to... I recommend copying just what I do. So get like this little corner formation, and you should put them all on strongest, so they can deal with the breakers easily. So on strongest, they're going to be pushing back to the higher health ones instead of the lower health ones, which Engineer should be able to deal with pretty easily. See, these got pushed back, and they're pretty weak. This one's at 3 health. And that'll slowly make its way back towards the brawlers, which should be able to deal with them pretty easily. And the reason why I'm getting brawlers over engineers is because of down the line, Engineer doesn't have hidden detection on its sentries until level 5. So that'll be a big problem for the shadow bosses because Engineer isn't going to be able to actually do a lot of damage to them. Believe it or not, the nail gun damage actually does help, and I'll get into that later. As you can see, we're starting to struggle on these balloons here, but there should never be enough to the point where you're actually leaking them. Because as you can see, I still have 100 health. Now here comes the first Mega Slow. This wave can be kind of weird if you have bad RNG or you have weird placements. But we're just gonna get some more brawlers on these corners because that's the best formation to get them in. Because this brawler can see this part and this part. There's a couple ways you could do this way. You can put your engineers on strongest, so all of your DPS is being focused directly into the Mega Slow, and not on these lead bosses right here. Because by the time this dies, these should make their way around, and the brawlers won't be distracted with it, so they'll just be able to kill it. And as you can see, this is a pretty early kill on the Mega Slow here. I think I have killed it earlier before, but it mostly comes down to just your placements. We can skip this wave as well. The Mega Slow is about to die, so we're gonna get a fat paycheck from that. And now I have 4 level 2 brawlers, which should be able to handle... These probably could solo a shadow boss on their own. So we're just gonna keep cracking at it, keep getting those level 2 brawlers. That's gonna be your best hope for survival. You also could have gotten a freezer for the Mega Slow. I kind of forgot I had that. I was a little bit distracted. If you get a freezer for the Mega Slow, yeah, it's not gonna it probably won't even get past this area right here. But right now, I'm just gonna go for level 2 brawler spam, as I've said before. Really just want to get that point across. Level 2 brawler will pretty much survive anything up until like wave 20. What, wave 20? Well, no, wave 30 probably. You're gonna start to see your first struggle with Fallen Titan, but like I said before, we're gonna get into that later. Balloons, as long as you put your engineers back on first, those shouldn't be a problem. And as you can see, we just absolutely wiped everything out. So let's just do a time lapse until wave 23. And by then, Shadow Boss should be able to get beaten down pretty easily. And then we're going to get into when you should get a freezer, where you should get a freezer, and why you should get a freezer. Here we have the first Shadow Boss, the first of many. As you can see, we have the mass brawler spam, and that's going to actually like, beat it down. Leaked a little bit, but Engineer should be able to finish that off. It's out of range, but pretty much off. There we go. Now we're going to get our first freezer down. Make sure to leave enough space so you can get another brawler. So let's get our freezer right here. And then we're going to cram one more brawler into that little spot right there. We'll put all of these on strongest. Don't forget about that. All are on strongest will attack the Mega Slows and push them back equally. And then we have the Fallen Reaper, which shouldn't be that big of a problem as long as it's being stalled correctly. Engineers should be able to pick that up. And obviously the summons do give you a little bit of extra cash, so that's always nice. As you can see, the Mega Slows are just getting absolutely curb stomped over here. And there we go. We're dead. This Necromancer is kind of got far, but it should be able to loop back around, and the brawlers will finish it off if the Engineer doesn't kill it yet. Now here comes one of the hardest waves in this challenge. We're gonna actually get more brawlers to make sure that doesn't happen. Here come the infamous 3 Shadow Bosses on level 25. As long as all your brawlers are on strongest, you shouldn't face a problem. Here they come. Can look a little bit bad, but it shouldn't really be that problematic. All these leads also give you a bunch of cash. So just keep your brawlers on strongest. You should be fine. Hopefully this will clean it up here. See, I leaked a little bit, but I have enough health, so I can tank that. And get some more brawlers. It really comes down to the placement and the timing of your brawler hits. Sometimes that wave can go completely wrong, sometimes it can go really good. It's really just, like I said, your placement that matters the most. This wave can be a little bit bad sometimes. You could put a couple of your brawlers on first, but as long as your freezer is stalling the Mega Slows, your brawlers should be able to finish all the Reapers. Because these guys can actually summon a lot of stuff. It can get really bad. But luckily, freezer absolutely makes light work. If you don't have freezer by now, those would have pushed way through back here and would have kept summoning, and there would have been a lot of stuff for your brawlers to handle. But now we have all 10 brawlers, and that is going to defend fallen rushers that are coming in. These are really fast enemies, but your freezer and brawler stun will make light work of them. There's a couple of different options you can do here. You can just go straight for level 4 brawler, or you can upgrade your engineers. But for this wave, I recommend putting your brawlers on first. Some of them on first, because the Shadow Bosses and the Mega Slows are going to move up. Because they're the strongest, they're going to be attacking the Mega Slows, which is not what you want. This is obviously, that comes out on the next wave. I got a little bit confused here, but putting them on first always helps because that's more time to prepare. So now we have all these brawlers, and I'm going to get this one to level 4 because that'll help on wave 31, wave 32. Because now you can see these shadow bosses are coming through, and you don't want your brawlers to be attacking the main stage, you want them to be attacking the shadow bosses. This wave can be a little bit troublesome, but as long as you have the brawlers first, it should be fine. With the post there, as long as you can also reposition this brawler if it gets too close, you can push it all back. Now we're going to start getting the engineers to level 3. There comes the first Fallen Titan. So just put all your towers back on strongest, so they're going to be hitting Fallen Titan and stunning it. And all your engineers will be shooting it. These guys gradually die. Upgrade your engineers with extra money bigger. Got absolutely obliterated. Let's see. Now, quickly put these brawlers back on first, because there's going to be a lot of shadow bosses coming in. And that hurts to upgrade some of these engineers. This one specifically, so it can do extra damage. It's gonna look a little bit bad, but as long as you have your brawlers on first, they should be able to get rid of it. Now we're just gonna go straight for a max engineer. We're gonna need the max engineer for the grave digger, which can actually be pretty bad if you don't have a max engineer, because that can just keep summoning and summoning and summoning. It's really hard to deal with everything. This way can also be a little bit bad, because there's just a lot of stuff. As long as you can do the strongest, it's just stunning it as much as possible. You can also use a reposition here to push everything back and do a little bit of extra damage to the breakers. Pretty much becomes smooth sailing from here, because you'll slowly be able to get more money and upgrade your towers more. And I'm gonna put this brawler back a little bit, because you don't want it back there. You just want it in the front, so it's doing a lot of damage. Go. Money from these giant bosses, you can slowly get up first max engineer. You might get it in the start or in the middle of wave 36, which should be fine just as long as you get it. I'm a little bit short here. like 1,000. Just gonna have to destroy a couple of these mega slaves to get enough money. I recommend putting your brawlers on first. And yeah, got him up first, max engineer. Hopefully it doesn't immediately get stunned by one of these. And now we're gonna put this on strongest. So it's just gonna deal damage to the Grave Digger right here. And also gonna upgrade this freezer so it can be a little bit more standard style in this Grave Digger. You could like divide the DPS with this speed split as well. Spawn Titan has a lot of health, so I'm gonna put everything back up first. Also, upgrade some of your engineers as well as well. Yeah, I'm gonna put this engineer back on the strongest, so it's dealing damage to your Digger again. You can also get another freezer here if you want. Solid a little bit more. Yeah, that was actually really bad. I had to block in for a second there, but we're fine. Fairly. That shouldn't happen regularly. I just got like really bad stun RNG. So hopefully I can do these lavas. These lead balloons should be able to be dealt with as long as we have a couple of engineers, preferably like the max ones. Obviously, we have the first appearance of these Foe Kings. These are just actual walking money bags for you guys, because the engineer should be able to easily beat these down along with brawlers. Just free money for that. We have a good appearance of Speedy Kings. These actually can't get frozen, so it might affect the freezer tower mentally. Here we have our first circuit, which is going to boost these lead balloons, but that shouldn't really be a problem as long as we have we have the start of wave 45. So hopefully you have all your max engineers by then. So now we're going to be moving into the north base mercenaries. So we got one of these right around here. Placement really does matter, so we get like that's the spot. Max it out and immediately put grenadiers on, because we get grenadiers to stack up, they do max damage. does look a little bit crazy. Should be able to pull through because that section was absolutely nothing. That's what base. And then once you get into level your first accelerators, and then talking about basements, or just getting something super simple. So, I should be about messing around. And just keep getting more accelerated now. Into getting most of that releases. Or alternatively do getting walls and then moving to the release so you can get 20% buff. This one already has it, that's pretty cool. Good view. First mission everything's around here. Because later on we're going to have to micro remove all the accelerators in this area so we can have a 20% buff. Let's get others back here. I want to start to get some of these fusion baits. Where the indicators and the ROBUX will tap. Let's move these back in place. Well, I should max all of these as well. Break these cruisers. Put some of them up strongest. Sucks, just completely losing my leader snap, not leader snap. Void Reader. Make sure there's a freezer on him always, so if he's stunned, there's gonna be a stun move. Let's just okay, kind of kind of sucks. Use up strongest. These abilities. Because you're going to need a massive stack of indicators to be able to indicators. Okay, I'm gonna put these flying guns now. And I need these flowers. Oh, that sucks. Here comes the most RNG part of this entire run, which is that section. I don't think I'm gonna win this one because I got better energy these times. Yeah, that's easy. Just putting it out there, solo hardcore is extremely RNG, and you pretty much lose if you don't get the right perfect accurate RNG for your gameplay. Because you can see that just completely got through 50k because I got extremely bad indicators. You just gotta do that exact same method a couple times until you get the exact perfect RNG to win. I'm really sorry I couldn't get it. I've tried this like 7 times probably. In my closest run, I think I had like 5,000 health. I have done the solo hardcore with Cryomancer on my channel before, so here's this clip of me winning, simply because I just had better RNG at the time. So yeah, if you enjoyed watching, just drop a sub, like, all that stuff, and I'll see you later.